Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Happy Bhagavan Jayanthi. This is the Michigan Satsang. Today we have a reading from Moments Remembered by Uma and a song Mohanashagam from Sri Ilayaraja's album by Kalpana and a reading from Ramana Maharshi, The Path of Self-Knowledge by Murli. Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. This following reading is from Moments Remembered book by V. Ganeshan, chapter 8, Holy of the Holiest Ramana. Sri Kunjaswami is at his joyous best when he narrates the sweet qualities of Bhagavan, whose teaching was ennobling and the manner of it was so simple and natural. Bhagavan's Samatva Bhava was supreme. Since he did not see anything or anybody as other than himself, appealed to him, Bhagavan, you are a realized sage. We are ignorant and unrealized. He cut them short. Where is the ignorance and who is unrealized? There was no other for him and no gradation in spiritual evolution. It was a pity that Bhagavan saw no difference. If only he could have seen our sorry plight, he could have, by a single wish, given us instantaneous realization. Everyone knows what great stress Bhagavan laid on Atma Vichara. He wrote, self-realization is easy, the easiest path, easier than all other paths. Yet, not once had he of his own accord asked any devotee to follow this method. He could have ordered the practice of Atma Vichara and devotees would have blindly followed. Yogi Ramaya, who was very close to Bhagavan for many years, used to practice Hatha Yoga. Bhagavan approved of the ashram, providing him with special restricted food. He would visit him in his cave at Palakottu and Yogi would accompany Bhagavan in his walks. Yogi was free to be with Bhagavan as he chose. Yet there is nothing on record to show that Bhagavan told him to do Atma Vichara instead of Pranayama or Hatha Yoga. Mudaliyar Pati's son, Tambiran Swami, was a Veera Saiva. He would collect flowers from the garden only at noon and then perform puja at the tank in Palakottu, making a linga out of the flowers and worshipping it with flowers. Day after day, Bhagavan would watch this. Tambiran Swami was a very weak man, and by the time he did his cooking and had his meal, after this late puja, it would be evening. Bhagavan once joked, "Poor God, he has to wait for so long for Naivedya offering since the puja takes so much time to complete." But never even once did Bhagavan tell him, "Why do you waste your time like this? You would do well by doing Atma Vichara." Bhagavan never asked even close followers whether they meditated or did self inquiry. His teaching was the highest, but it was left entirely to us to practice it or leave it. What equanimity! This non interference extended, of course, to the mundane aspect of the seekers' lives. After serving Bhagavan for many years, I left the ashram for certain valid reasons and wished to settle in Palakottu. When I conveyed to him my decision, he took it casually. There was no reaction in him. Was this indifference? Far from it. Bhagavan would immediately place any person coming to him after 20 years and recount what had taken place then. Totally dispassionate, he was never affected by anything. Nayana was very much respected by Bhagavan, but when he was to leave for Shirshi, never to return to Arunachala, as it turned out, Bhagavan did not say, "Why should you go? You can stay here itself." Murugan, or another great devotee, used to go out begging while the ashram was serving food to hundreds of people. Bhagavan never asked him why he took the trouble of begging when he could eat in the ashram itself. Dandapani Swami was an important member of the ashram in the early days. However, for some reasons, when he was asked to leave the ashram, he would not. A team of responsible people from the town came and pleaded with Dandapani Swami to leave peacefully, as otherwise the consequences might be unpleasant. This took place in front of Bhagavan. He remained unmoved. The following morning, when Dandapani Swami came to Bhagavan to take leave, Bhagavan again remained unmoved. It was the same Bhagavan who had often said earlier that Dandapani Swami should be served plenty of food since he wanted and needed it. Once, when Bhagavan's brother Niranjanananda Swami was being physically lifted and carried away by a group of people who threatened to kill him, he was absolutely unperturbed. He did not even turn his head towards that side. In the evening, when Niranjanananda Swami came back unharmed and sat in front of Bhagavan, he took no notice of his safe return. Of course, it was his grace alone that saved Niranjanananda Swami on that day, but that is a different matter altogether.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Mohanashakam Mokshadayakam Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Mohanashakam Mokshadayakam Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Bhavavimochanam Paramapavanam Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Bhavavimochanam Paramapavanam Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Guru Pararamana Arunagiri Pararamana Hara Hara Ramana Shri Guru Pararamana Guru Pararamana Arunagiri Pararamana Hara Hara Ramana Shri Guru Pararamana Shri Sukapradau Kavitartanam Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Bhaktaranjanam Papavanjanam Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Guru Pararamana Arunagiri Pararamana Hara Hara Ramana Shri Guru Pararamana Guru Pararamana Arunagiri Pararamana Hara Hara Ramana Shri Guru Pararamana Mahati Tejamo Mantra Rajamo Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Kanti Punjamo Shanti Punjamo Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Brandi Mardanam Kandi Vardanam Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Bhakti Bodhanam Mukti Sadhanam Ramana Namame Ramana Namame Guru Pararamana Arunagiri Pararamana Hara Hara Ramana Shri Guru Pararamana Guru Pararamana Arunagiri Pararamana Hara Hara Ramana Shri Guru Pararamana Jeevarasi ki Jantu koti ki Pakshi koti ki Mokshamichunu Bhavatamatssulo Dikku teliyani మానవాళికి దారి చూపును ధ్యాన మార్గమే కానరాగయే అలమటించెడి ఆప్తజనులను ఆత్మ విద్యతో ఉత్తరించును రమణ నామమే రమణ నామమే గురు పరరమణ అరుణగిరి పరరమణ హర హర రమణ శ్రీ గురు వరరమణ గురు పరరమణ अरुणगिरिपररमणा हर हर रमणा श्रीगुरुवररमणा నమ్మి కొలిచిన చెయ్యి విడువదు ప్రతిఫలముక ఎమ్మి అడగుడు అరుణి రూపము అరుణ దీపము రమణ నామమే రమణ నామమే రమణ గురువు కై తపము చేయరా రమణ నామమే జపము చేయరా కనుల భ్రాంతియే కరిగిపోవదా రమణ నామమే పలుకుచుండరా రమణ నామమే రమణ నామమే గురు పరరమణ అరుణగిరి పరరమణ హర హర రమణ శ్రీ గురు వరరమణ గురు పరరమణ అరుణగిరి పరరమణ హర హర రమణ శ్రీ గురు వరరమణ హర హర రమణ శ్రీ గురువర రమణ.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Ramana Maharshi and the Path of Self-Knowledge by Arthur Osborne. Chapter 7, Non-Resistance. Non-resistance may seem impracticable in an established religion, since every country must have its law courts and police, at least in modern conditions, its army. However, a religion has two levels of obligation: the minimum obligation upon all who follow it and upon countries where it is established, and the full obligation upon those who devote their lives to following the path laid down regarding all worldly advantages as nothing in the search for blessedness. It is only in this second and higher sense that Sri Bhagavan established a path, and therefore for himself and his followers he could say, "Resist not evil." It was no social law for a whole community that he was proclaiming, but a way of life for those who followed him. It is possible only for those who have submitted to God's will and accept whatever comes as right and necessary, even though it may be a misfortune from worldly standards. Sri Bhagavan once said to a devotee, "You thank God for the good things that come to you, but you don't thank Him for the things that seem to you bad. That is where you go wrong." It may be objected that this simple faith is very different from the doctrine of oneness that Sri Bhagavan taught. But it is only on the mental plane that such theories may conflict. He said, submission to God, Guru, or Self is all that is needed. As will be shown in later chapter, these three modes of submission are really not different. It is enough to say here that for one who can hold to the view that there is only the one self, all outer activity appears a dream or cinema show enacted on the substratum of the self, so that he will remain an impassive witness. This was the attitude of Sri Bhagavan on the few occasions when evil or molestation threatened. There were tamarind trees outside Gurumurtam, and when he was living there, he would sometimes sit under one of them. One day, when no one else was about, a party of thieves came to carry away the ripe tamarind pods. Seeing the young Swami sitting silent at the foot of a tree, one of them said, Get some acid sap and put it in his eyes. Let's see if that will make him speak. It is a sap that might blind a man apart from the fierce pain it would cause. But he sat motionless, equally unconcerned about his eyes and about the tamarind fruit. Another of the party answered, "Oh, don't bother about him. What harm can he do? Let's get along." Another such attempt at interference was by a group of drunken sadhus. Appearing one day at Virupaksha cave, they solemnly declared, "We are sadhus from Podikai hill, the sacred hill on which the ancient Agastya Rishi is still doing tapas as far as he has for thousands of years. He has ordered us to take you first to the Siddhas conference at Srirangam and from there to Podikai to give you regular diksha after extracting from your body those salts that prevent your attaining higher powers." Sri Bhagavan on all such occasions made no response. However, on this occasion, one of his devotees, Perumal Swami, outbluffed the bluffers. He said, "We have already received intimation of your coming and have been commissioned to put your bodies in crucibles and heat the crucibles over a fire." And turning to another devotee, he bade them, "Go and dig a pit where we can make a fire for these people." The visitors left in a hurry. It was June 26th at about past 11. The night was dark. Sri Bhagavan had already retired to rest on the raised platform in the hall in front of the Mother's Samadhi. 4 devotees were sleeping on the floor near the windows. 2 of them, Kunjaswami and Mastan, the former an attendant, heard somebody outside say, "There are 6 persons lying down inside." Kunjaswami shouted out, "Who is there?" The thieves replied by breaking a window, apparently to frighten those inside. Kunjaswami and Mastan got up and went to the dais where Sri Bhagavan was. The thieves thereupon broke a window at that side, but Sri Bhagavan sat unperturbed. Kunjaswami then left the hall by the north door as the thieves were on the south side and brought Ramakrishna Swami, a devotee who was sleeping in another hut, to help them. When he opened the door, the 2 ashram dogs, Jackie and Karuppan, ran out. The thieves beat them and Jackie and ran away, while Karuppan ran back to the hall for refuge. Sri Bhagavan told the thieves that there were very little for them to take, but they were welcome to come in and take what there was. Either considering this a trap or being too stupid to depart from routine, they took no notice but continued their efforts to dislodge a window frame so as to get in that way. Angered by their wanton destruction, Ramakrishna Swami sought Bhagavan's permission to challenge them, but Bhagavan forbade him, saying, "They have the dharma, we have ours. It is for us to bear and forbear. Let us not interfere with them." Though Sri Bhagavan invited them to enter by the door, the thieves continued their violent methods. They let off crackers at the windows to give the impression that they had firearms. Again, they were told to enter and take what they wanted, but they only replied with threats. Meanwhile, Kunjaswami had left the hall and set out for town to get help. Ramakrishna Swami again spoke to the thieves and told them not to make unnecessary trouble, but simply to take what they wanted. In reply, they threatened to set fire to the thatched room. Sri Bhagavan told them that they should not do that, but offered to go out and leave the hall to them. This was just what they wanted, perhaps still fearing that the others might set upon them while they were at their work. Sri Bhagavan first told Ramakrishna Swami to carry the dog Karupan to a safe place in the other shed for fear the thieves would beat it if it were left there. Then he, with the three others, Mastan, Thangavelu Pillai, and Muniswami, a boy who performed puja or worship at the ashram, left by the north door. The thieves stood at the doorway with sticks and beat them as they went out, either hoping to disable them or to frighten them from any thought of resistance. Sri Bhagavan, receiving a blow on the left thigh, said, "If you are not satisfied, you can strike the other leg also." Ramakrishna Swami, however, got back in time to ward off further blows. Sri Bhagavan and the devotees sat in the thatched shed that stood at the north of the hall. The thieves shouted to them to stay there. "If you move away, we will break your heads." Sri Bhagavan told them, "You have the entire hall to yourself. Do what you like." One of the thieves came and demanded a hurricane lamp, and Ramakrishna Swami, on Sri Bhagavan's instructions, gave him a lighted lamp. Again, one of them came and asked for the cupboard keys, but Kunjaswami had taken them away with him and he was told so. They broke open the cupboard and found there a few thin strips of silver for adorning the images, a few mangoes, and a little rice, altogether worth about rupees 10. A sum of rupees 6 belonging to Thangavelu Pillai was also taken. Disappointed with their small takings, one of the thieves returned, brandishing his stick and asking, "Where is your money? Where do you keep that?" Sri Bhagavan told him, "We are poor sadhus living on charity and never have cash." And the thief, despite his continued blustering, had to be satisfied with that. Sri Bhagavan advised Ramakrishna Swami and others to go and put ointment on their bruises. "And what about Swami?" Ramakrishna Swami asked. Sri Bhagavan laughed and replied, "I have also received some puja," punning on the word that could mean either worship or blows. Seeing the wheal on his thigh, Ramakrishna Swami felt a sudden wave of anger. He picked up an iron bar that was lying there and asked for permission to go and see what the thieves were doing. But Sri Bhagavan dissuaded him. "We are sadhus. We should not give up our dharma. If you go and strike them, some may die, and that will be a matter for which the world will rightly blame not them but us. They are only misguided men and are blinded by ignorance. But let us note what is right and stick to it. If your teeth suddenly bite your tongue, do you knock them out in consequence?" It was 2 o'clock in the morning when the thieves left. A little later, Kunjaswami returned with a village officer and 2 police constables. Sri Bhagavan was still sitting in the northern shed, speaking to his devotees of spiritual matters. The constables asked him what had happened, and he simply remarked that some foolish persons had broken into the ashram and gone away disappointed at finding nothing worth their trouble. The constables made an entry to this effect and went away together with the village officer. Muniswami ran after them and told them that the Swami and others had been beaten by the thieves. In the morning, the circle inspector, sub-inspector, and a head constable came to investigate, and later the deputy superintendent came. Sri Bhagavan spoke to none about his injury or about the theft except when asked. A few days later, some of the stolen property was recovered. The thieves were arrested and sentenced to terms of imprisonment.